Okay, so I have 2 meals left for today. I actually have 1 cup of egg whites and 1 whole egg, and then the other meal is 5 ounces of turkey breast, 200 grams of white rice, which I prefer jasmine rice, and 4 ounces of vegetables. I do know that jasmine rice has a slightly higher carb content and higher calories, but not sure why, but jasmine rice is much tastier. So we prefer jasmine rice here at home. So the way that I'm going to start this is very simple. I'm actually going to put it all together, and I'm going to make kind of my own version of a fried rice without actually frying, without using much oil. It's just going to be a tiny little bit of oil. We're actually going to use a pan as our oil, just kind of a spray to get things started. And then other than that, I have all the ingredients here. It's pretty simple. So let's go ahead and get started. So I've got my pan starting to warm up a little bit. On my stove top, we have up to 8, and then it says high. So I have it set on 3, so it's probably like a medium low. Not too hot because it will burn, and you don't want everything to burn too quickly before everything's cooking. So obviously you want to make sure that you're cooking at proper temperature so that things aren't burning. So we're going to start with oiling that pan a little bit. We do want that oil to get a little warm, and as soon as it starts to get warm, we're going to start with the veggies. Now, I personally like to throw in peppers and onions into this, just because it does add some natural sweetness and some natural heat. And I love the flavor of purple onions, especially when they're cooked. So I do want to throw those in. So it's started to get a little bit warm there. We're going to toss those guys in there and let those heat up and saute. And so for right now, we're going to take a little pause, and I'm going to re-record after this has kind of gotten going. In fact, right now, what I'll go ahead and throw in my broccoli. Because broccoli doesn't really affect your diet a whole lot except for in a positive way. Instead of doing 4 ounces, I threw in a couple extra. I think it's like 6 ounces. So I love broccoli. It doesn't affect the flavor at all of the dish. In fact, broccoli kind of just softens up and takes the flavor of everything else. So a little extra broccoli never hurt anybody. Let's be right back. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes. I did turn the heat up just a little bit, and then I did sprinkle in a little bit of the pink salt, Himalayan pink salt, just to kind of flavor the vegetables. And then I forgot to mention that the yellow pepper that I added, and it doesn't matter what pepper, if you like peppers, add peppers. If you don't like peppers, don't add peppers. But the pepper is, it's actually half of kind of a medium size yellow bell pepper. And the onion, it's probably about 1/3 of a purple onion, so not a whole lot. If you're not a fan of onions, don't use the onions, or just use a little bit. If you love onions, put a bunch of onions in there. I like onions, so about 1/3 of maybe 1/4 of a purple onion, 1/3 of a purple onion, and it's just going to give it nice flavor. So I do like my vegetables to have a little bit of a crunch to them. I don't want them to be too soft. So we've probably been sauteing these for maybe 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the garlic now, because I don't want to throw that in too early. It will burn. So I'm going to throw it in now. That is a tablespoon of garlic. I do also love garlic. I put garlic in just about everything that I cook. And so I love garlic. Add some garlic in there. Just stir that up so it gets nice and warm. Get that flavor mixed in with the other vegetables. So you want to move that around a little bit. There it is. Yep, I can smell it mixing in with all that other stuff. So that's nice. But again, you don't want it to sit in there for too long because it will start to burn. So the next thing I'm going to do is, oh yeah, good. God, it smells so good. Onions are starting to soften up too. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and throw in that turkey, and I'm going to throw in the rice. That way it starts to warm up, and it starts to kind of mix in. Those flavors will kind of mix together really nicely. So I'm going to keep that heat where it is. I'm just going to toss all of that turkey and all that rice in there. And as soon as that starts to get kind of warmed up, then I'm going to throw in my eggs. And the eggs is kind of the last thing, and everything will just kind of cook together. So let's toss this in here, and I'm going to let that warm up for a couple of minutes. So I will see you guys in just a moment. All right, so everything started to get pretty nice and warm. I noticed too, it's not burning on the bottom, which is perfect. That means I got the heat at the right temperature. If you notice it starts to kind of burn at the bottom, it starts to get really like sticky. It almost gets sticky there at the bottom. Then turn your heat down a little bit. Maybe even move the food off, come back to it, or move the food back over the heat. But definitely don't want it to be too hot. It will kind of burn. All right, so here's the part that takes a while. We are now going to add in our egg. So, like I said, I've got a cup of egg whites, 1 egg. That's just in my meal plan, so whatever your meal plan is. That's good stuff. Make sure I get it all, because I'm hungry. Get it all in there. There we go. And this does also take a few minutes. So you just kind of turn it so it doesn't get burned and so it gets nice and even. So as long as your heat is at the right temperature, then you just kind of turn it. It starts to cook a little bit, turn it, starts to cook a little bit, turn it. You don't want it to burn, but also give it a second so that it is cooking. If you turn it too much, then it just takes a really long time to cook. So I want to give it a few seconds, turn it, give it a few seconds, turn it a little, and just stir it all together. And after a couple of minutes here, it'll be done. Here we might even add a little bit of, once it starts to cook, we'll add a little bit of our Bragg's aminos. So if you don't have some of this is great stuff. 5 calories, super high sodium, but this is really good stuff. So we'll add this in just a minute. I think total I put, if I was to estimate, maybe like 2 tablespoons, and serving size is a teaspoon. So it's a lot of sodium, but this is really important. This is what helps give it that flavor, makes it like fried rice. Okay, so be right back. All right, we're definitely home stretch. It's almost ready. So I'm gonna start throwing in a little bit of the aminos. I haven't been measuring this. I've just been kind of sprinkling it in there. I stir it up, turn it a couple of times, sprinkle a little bit more, till I kind of feel like it's right. If you are trying to control your sodium though, it does say again 300 milligrams per teaspoon. You might want to measure that out. For me, I want it to taste good. So I'm gonna pour some in there. That was probably a tablespoon already. Smells good. Could probably be good with what I just poured in there. That would probably be enough flavor. Now the next thing that I wanted to show you guys, so hang in there. I know there's a little bit more to this video, but I want to throw in one more thing. Now my wife absolutely loves cucumber Asian salad. Unfortunately, cucumber Asian salad has like sesame oil in it, which does make it absolutely delicious. If you're watching your fats, you gotta watch out for that. Can't do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour a little bit more of those aminos, and I'm gonna turn this down. I'm gonna leave this in the pan, and while this is kind of finishing up, I am going to show you how to make some of this cucumber salad the way that I've been making it. Cucumbers are something you can throw into your diet. It doesn't affect your meal plan. And and we can make it tasty so that you know, it's not like eating just a plain cucumber, but again, it doesn't affect your diet at all. So let me show you what that is. All right, so hello, how are you? Cucumber Asian salad, super simple. And actually the ingredients should be at your local grocery and everything. Really lucky here, we do have an Asian market that has all kinds of stuff. So what I'll just throw it in Tupperware. So I sliced up my cucumber already. I just used a regular cucumber, obviously washed and everything. Just gonna throw that in my container. Hopefully it fits. Oh, there you get. Yep. And this is something you can kind of throw together. I mean, it just takes a couple of seconds just to get everything ready and throw it all together. So obviously cucumber. The next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of salt, a little bit of sea salt. I like kosher salt. It's got strong flavor to it. But I do like to use a variety of salts also. If you do your own research on salts, then there it goes. Took a second. If you do some research on salt, there are a variety of benefits in using salts from different places. So using a variety of salts is really good. I like to use a rice vinegar. So toss that in. There's a teaspoon of rice vinegar. So not a whole lot, but of course, if you're familiar with vinegar, you don't want a lot of vinegary taste necessarily. You don't want that necessarily to be dominant, but it is distinct in the flavor. We also have Korean chili pepper. So chili flakes, Korean chili flakes. I'm just gonna sprinkle that so it gets everywhere. And then we do have a teaspoon of chopped garlic. So I like to get the container that already chopped all the garlic up for you, so it's nice and easy. And all right, so 1 tablespoon of sesame oil is 130 calories. Don't do a full tablespoon, but I'm just gonna put a little drop, okay? Because I do want a tiny little bit of that flavor. That's nice. So maybe 15 calories worth. Okay, we're gonna put the lid on that. We're going to put that in the refrigerator overnight so that it will kind of marinate in all those different flavors. But after it's done, it kind of looks like this. It's still a little bit crunchy. Softens up, flavors all mixed together. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, you do taste that rice vinegar. You taste those pepper flakes, those are delicious. And just a tiny little bit of that oil is all you need. You don't need much at all, just a tiny little bit. That's excellent to pair with your fried rice. So, have a go. Let me know what you think.